My name is Nabihah Iqbal and I'm a musician, DJ and broadcaster from London. I've always loved music. It's been my favourite thing ever since I was a kid. And I guess in my head it was always a dream of mine to be able to do, to make music and have that as a career, but I actually never planned to do it and I didn't really think it would happen because I was actually thinking I'd be a barrister. But always along the side of all of that, I was always doing a lot of music. As I got a bit older, from the age of 18, 19 onwards, just started organising parties with my friends in London and learned how to DJ, and that's where I first started DJing. And 2013 was the turning point because that's the year when my first record was released and I got offered my own radio show on NTS Radio, which is a London-based station online. And then after that, things just started gathering momentum. Then I just thought, I'm gonna focus on this because I felt like it was a sign from the universe. It's hard work, but it's fun and it's my dream, so I'm happy. The reason why I applied to SOAS was because I didn't want to study the subject of history from a Eurocentric perspective. I wanted to do a university degree where I was learning about the rest of the world and not just the UK and Europe and everything through the lens of the coloniser and the occupier and the imperialist. So when I looked at the kind of courses on offer at SOAS, I felt really interested in them, and that's why I wanted to go there. I ended up studying history and ethnomusicology joint honours, and I was the only person doing that combination in my year. But I didn't apply for music. I watched a kora performance, I think it was in Freshers Week or a kind of induction week, that was put on by the music department, and it was the first time I'd ever heard the kora, which is a West African harp, and that moment made me think I really need to know more about this instrument, about this kind of music, where it comes from. I need to try and study ethnomusicology at SOAS as well. And so I literally ran over to the music department and found the head, someone called Lucy Duran. And I was like, you don't know who I am and I didn't apply for your course, but I just watched this kora play and it was the best thing I've ever heard, so please can you let me on the course? On the history side of my studies, I took a course looking at Southeast Asia during the Cold War, and then at the same time I took a course on the music side looking at Southeast Asian music, and studying those two together was an amazing experience because they really complemented each other. And so when I was learning about these big historical shifts that affected that part of the world, I was also learning about the music culture that went with those movements, and so it just enhanced the whole learning experience even more. Then also studying gamelan music for the first time, which is an Indonesian percussion ensemble. We learned the Balinese and the Javanese styles of that, and it was great. And for my main performance instrument, I chose the sitar. And that whole experience of learning an instrument from a really ancient musical culture, and the whole approach to learning music, which is so different to learning an instrument in the Western tradition, that's also another thing that really stuck out for me in the whole experience of SOAS. When I first started my radio show on NTS, back in 2013, the whole inspiration behind it were my studies in ethnomusicology at SOAS, because for me that was such, this experience of really expanding my mind and listening to different types of music from all around the world. And I'd collected a lot of things from the SOAS archive because if anyone's familiar with the music collection at SOAS, there's so many amazing CDs of just quite rare, unusual music from all around the world. And the first ever time I went on NTS, I went on one of my friend's shows as a guest, and I was just playing different music that I'd discovered from my studies. And that's how I ended up getting my own show, because I think at that time no one else was doing anything similar on the station, and it was very new. It was a new experience for people to be able to hear, for example, field recordings of pygmy tribes in the Central African rainforest, and then also throat singing from Mongolia, and rare recordings of angklung music from Indonesia, just everything. And so that's how it started, but for me it's still really important to share it music from all around the world and different cultures on my radio shows and also in my DJ sets. So yeah, it's still there, and that's all thanks to SOAS, that whole experience. I would describe SOAS as the most sort of, I'd say, like left-leaning university institution in the UK, and there's a like diversity of viewpoints that's really felt. You know, you could just be in the JCR or the bar or obviously in a class having a discussion, and it really feels like a place that attracts different ways of thinking and people that aren't afraid to kind of like go against the grain, who want to shed light on areas of study that will otherwise be overlooked. So for me, that's probably like the most special thing about SOAS, you know. And it's also a really fun place. It's in an amazing location in Bloomsbury in London, and it feels very historic and special in that way. And I love the library. Well, in the past year and a bit, the thing that I'm most proud of is releasing my second album, Dreamer. It's like the most important thing that I've ever worked on in my life. It feels so special to me. There's a lot of emotional investment in that album, and it was really hard to make. But then, you know, now I'm out the other side where I can look back on the release of the record and also one whole year of touring all around the world and just seeing how the music's been on its own journey and how people relate to it, and the stories I hear from fans about what the music means to them. And that feels really surreal to me because, you know, there's so many music artists who are important to me that I look up to, whose music is really significant in my life, and for someone else to say have that same feeling about the music I make is, well, I feel like I couldn't really ask for anything else. It's just the best feeling. Yeah, I just played Glastonbury Festival for the first time, like a live set with my band, and I was so excited about it, and it was just an amazing experience. For me, growing up, I just always watched Glastonbury coverage on TV, you know, as a kid, and as someone who really loved music, it just felt like this pinnacle of like, you know, a musical experience that you could have. The first time I went was a few years ago, and I DJ'd then. That was really fun, but this time felt very special because it was the first time I was performing my own music with my band. Work really hard at your studies and do as well as possible. You know, I feel like during university, it really is definitely like the most fun time of your life, for sure. And then it's easy to get carried away in that and maybe do the bare minimum amount of work. And if you do that, you're just not doing yourself justice, because we are so lucky to be in a country where you've got like elite level education, you've got all these institutions that are providing, you know, the most amazing facilities and opportunities for you to study and do the best you can, and to not make the most of it will just be such a waste because you don't get those years back. And that was my approach as well, because I didn't want to come out of university with a below par degree for, you know, what I felt I could achieve. So, you know, even though I was having fun and doing a lot of music and hanging out with friends, I still went to the library every day from 9 AM to 11 PM. And people started calling me library girl because of it, because I'd always sit on the same desk on D floor. But it paid off, because in the end I got a first class degree, and then when you get your results in the final summer, it just is the best feeling, because you know that you've worked as hard as possible, and then you see the result of that and you don't have to worry about retakes or not doing as well as you wanted. Work hard and get the best results you can, and then think about everything else.